Yeah, what's up guys? I'm Raga.
I'm Lucas.
And today we're going to talk about how
I tune my FXs.
Yeah.
You know, plenty of kites come nowadays, and there's different settings on the leading edge, there's different settings on the wingtips, and it can be a little confusing on how you might want to ride your kite in your home spot. I'll run through what I use on the FX. I have actually different settings on every size because the kite feels different as it grows and as you get smaller with it.
Smart.
Yeah, you kind of want to maximize the performance of each size, right, for what you're doing. Me, I'm a freestyle rider. I want the maximum performance out of my 15 and the same out of my 9, but the 9's, you know, way smaller and it's going to move quicker. It's a slack's different, so I do tune them differently just throughout my size. So let's start up with the 14. 14, we have the wingtip, the rear line steering speed. I always keep it on the A. I need the kite to move a little faster. It's a big kite, and what the A does, it does a little bit less bar pressure too. So it's a lighter feel, quicker moving kite, right? Kind of makes sense when it's a big kite. As well as on the leading edge, we have 3 settings on the FX. You have the free ride settings, which is in the middle, I believe. You have the freestyle, it's all the way further closer to the tips of the kite, and then all the way inside is more D power, okay? So I go more slack on the 14 because the 14 tends to have less forward drive. So I go more slack and A on the wingtips. So it makes a lighter feeling kite with more slack, which is awesome. When you drop down to the 12, I'll ride more slack again. It's kind of a mid-range kite. You still want the most slack. Actually, most of my sessions, my best sessions are on the 12, so I want that kite to be perfect. But on the wingtips, what I do is I move it to the B. So the 12, I have B steering, which makes the steering a bit heavier. Kite slows down a little bit, and then I have it on the slack, most slack. And then dropping down to the 10, what I do is I move it to the middle, which is the free ride setting. Because what happens with the 10 is you have slightly more slack, right? The kite's getting smaller and it's easier to drive forward versus in a load and pop. And again, I go B steering to slow it down and have more bar pressure to really feel where it's at in the sky. And then the 9, I'll ride the same settings as the 10. Kind of the same deal. I want a slower kite. I don't necessarily need more slack. These small kites really drive forward easily, right? And then the cool part with the 9 is if you put it on the free ride setting, it can really improve your loops. It'll loop quicker because it flies heavier on the front lines, so you'll actually have more pivot in your kite.
No kidding.
Yeah, so it'll flip quicker. It'll actually turn a lot faster for your loops and stuff like that. So it has more arc support. It kind of just feels more like a free ride kite at that point. So kind of for foiling and for big air, I move it all the way up to the free ride setting on the end, on the inside, closer to the valve, right? And then of course the smaller size I'll ride on the B steering. That way it feels a bit more slower and more direct in my hand, so I know where it is. But yeah, it's kind of a funny way of tuning it, but you know, when you're riding a 14, it's lighter winds, when you're in a strong wind, you want your kite to perform a little differently, especially if you're doing big air versus freestyle and you only have a few kites and you want to make you want to maximize the potential out of it. So yeah, that's what I use, and it's a bit unique, but I love it.
No, it's epic, man. That's good information. So if you found the video helpful, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll catch you next time.
Cheers. Thank you.